Sitting here with a couple of mining blokes from Cobalt Blue, and one of them was telling me that, he knew all about this group and his son's right into it, even though he's only in his 20s. Rob Biancardi's the chairman of Cobalt Blue. Rob, good morning to you.
Good morning, Andrew.
So, do you want a job in the radio? You're telling me all about this song.
Everyone's a frustrated DJ.
And Joe Kataravic, the Chief Executive Officer of Cobalt Blue. Joe, good morning to you.
G'day, Andrew.
You're sort of coming in trying to gate crash Tina Turner's tribute this morning, but anyway, we'll see how we run with that. I'll just start with you, Joe. And I just said earlier we've been talking to a couple of local mining companies, and Lodestone last week out behind O'Leary. It's a pretty tough climate for miners at the moment.
Oh, absolutely. You've got, money's expensive, interest rates are high. You've got uncertainty in the markets that we're trying to sell into. It's just a tough time. And labour, shortages. So, trying to pull all that together into a mine right now is tough.
Do you have to look overseas for really skilled workers?
Yeah, you may have to. We're not at the stage of identifying any shortfalls in Australia, but yeah, you may have to. And some of the skill sets, particularly if you're going to go into the processing business and refining business, yeah, you may have to.
Rob, the project itself, and I always say we should never just come on air and assume everybody knows what we're talking about, but the project you've got, which is, I like to say, just in the Thackeringha Hills, just half an hour out of Broken Hill, what stage is it at?
We're only a short commute out of town.
Yeah.
Look, we're an overnight success that's been going for over 100 years. The Thackeringha deposit was first mined even before Broken Hill was, back in the late 1800s. We've been fortunate enough to have the asset since 2017, Joe?
Yep,
16.
Right.
We floated the company in 2017. And I think we first came up and started talking to the APC and the local member up here at the time, Kevin Humphries, and the mayor back in 2016, and the whole community's been very supportive. So we've been here for 7 years.
Just touching on, following on from what Joe was saying, the headwinds that we're experiencing at the moment, is it making it tougher for your operation?
Look, we're like all businesses, we're dependent on people, on power, on water, and everything is becoming more and more challenging in the current environment. So it's very difficult out there.
I suppose the easy question, Joe, is what stage is Cobalt Blue at?
Yeah, no, thank you. So we're currently finalising a feasibility study. So that's a study that'll go to the market to inform investors. That's a study that'll go to the banks for funding on debt side. It's a study that'll go to the government with respect to approvals and licence to operate and the like. It's also a study that'll go out to commercial partners to say, here's a source of cobalt, a very large source of cobalt, that you can do business with. So that'll be delivered later in the year, with a view that will turn that into an investment decision. In other words, all of those prerequisite ticks in the boxes are there into next year, and then getting on with it. So, despite, I guess, the headwinds that, as you call them, in front of us at the moment, I think we're quite disciplined or bloody-minded about getting this thing done and focused on it. So we just keep on keeping on. And as you said earlier, we've been a little under the radar, but that doesn't mean we haven't been very busy.
Rob, there's an interesting documentary the other night that the vast majority of this product that you're mining is mined out of the Congo, and the conditions which it's mined over there and the political landscape that goes around it. Do you think that that's going to be of benefit once you do start production, that buyers overseas are going to look and think, well, morally, where should we be buying our product from?
Look, the green energy revolution is here to stay, and it's growing day by day. You can't turn on any news media, any online without seeing that and seeing EV cars around you growing. And Australia is in a very unique position. We probably have about close to 20% of all the cobalt in the world here, yet we only produce about 4 to 5% of it. Where we have an advantage is that our standards are very high, and we have the opportunity to create a very sort of green and ethical and socially ethical cobalt, which will go into EVs.
It's an interesting situation. We talk about the headwinds, the production costs, and actually mining it. The cost of the commodity also comes into play here. It's not that flash at the moment, but right now, that wouldn't be a major concern for you, Joe? Is it pretty much we're looking a few years down the track?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The utter irony of cobalt today is the price is at a 4 or 5 year low. However, having just come back from the annual Institute conference 2 weeks ago, the view on sort of a 2026 onwards, so the last 5 years of the decade, is extremely bullish, very tight. And this so-called hockey stick, if you like, this inflection point for electric vehicle demand is coming. We just have to be patient and wait through it. And at the moment, you're right, it doesn't really affect us right here and now because we're not producing. But it's just noisy.
Does it sort of give you a bit of a boost too, Rob, that the government, the federal government and state government, are 100% behind the mining of these sorts of commodities? Does that sort of give you a bit of added security knowing you've got that support there? Because financially they've backed it as well.
It's very reassuring. You know, all levels of government, from local government, state government, federal government, have all been very supportive. But just in the last, we've seen a major sort of a paradigm shift in the last 12 to 24 months. The Biden in the US has brought out an Inflation Reduction Act, which basically is out there to support their partners in the production of materials for the green energy revolution, and we're sitting front and centre to benefit from that.
You spoke about the preparing that feasibility, that bankable feasibility, where you then go out to the worldwide market and say, well, okay, do you want to buy into this? And I know a lot of this is in confidence. Have you had any serious bites that there are organisations out there? And we know that you've spoken to I think it was the South Koreans, I think it was a while ago now.
That's right.
Are they prepared to put their money where their mouth is?
Yeah, look, I need to play a really straight bat to that question. But yeah, no, look, we are in active discussions. Look, I'll put it to you this way. The idea of a new, clean source of cobalt, one that's not dominated by the Chinese production chains, which China processes about 70-75% of the world's cobalt. One that feeds into this, as Rob just mentioned, this Inflation Reduction Act. The EU has similar proposals. And I would add, from an Australian perspective, a mine that will enable a battery industry to be built in Australia. That's a long-sought dream in Australian mining, to add value and create those downstream products. So all of that's happening today. Discussions are happening, and I'm quietly confident we'll have something to announce to the market.
You say announce to the market. How far off would that be, Joe?
Look, again, straight bat. Look at discussions of this magnitude, because the project is a $500 million project. It's a big project. Take time to find the right partner, to find the right style of a long-term partner. So, yeah, it's work in progress.
And, of course, the worst question anyone can ever ask a company in your position, now whether it's Lodestone or Horsens or wherever it is the question, well, you're working for the feasibility process. You look at your timeline moving forward over the next couple of years. Have you sort of even vaguely penciled in a date where you thought, yeah, we'd like to start production if everything lines up?
Look, at this stage, our current guidance is first full year of production will be 26. We might sneak a little in back end of 25, but that's the guidance at the moment. So our focus as a team is more on getting the technicals and the processing right. And if I may, just put a shout out to the team at the demonstration facility at Broken Hill. There's 30-something locals there, who some of whom have been with us for 3 odd years, who are learning the art of processing, or the science of processing cobalt all the way through to a battery product. And that's a really big investment in the community, and it's being paid back in spades. There's some really good people out there, operators, technical people, team leaders, who really are repaying that faith, and I think will be the future leaders of the business. And then
moving forward, then Rob, I suppose it's a journey you started, as I said, back in 2016, 2017, and we're told now to go from scratch to production is probably a 10-year process. So if you're under that mark, you're doing all right.
We're on a journey, and there's still a fair way to go. But I think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel now. As I said, the market has come to us. We've developed some incredible IP, some incredible technology. The process Joe relates to is unique to us. We've created it. So the whole world is looking at Broken Hill and at our process in this regard. And today you get to spend a bit of time with some of your stakeholders? Yeah, we've always had a really strong community support here. I love coming here for the open day and just listening to people, and importantly for them, getting them to see the plant and see, touch and feel what their investment's all about. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in this morning. Thank you for your ongoing support. I apologise that Tina Turner's eating into your time, but sometimes you just got to know where you sit in the order of things, don't you?
Joining us this morning, Joe Kataravic, CEO of Cobalt Blue, and Rob Biancardi, the chairman. A project we've been following for a while and will continue to follow over the next few years.